Hi, I'm Greg Scott, and welcome to my 30-day challenge, week 2, day 4 tonight. Tonight, I want to talk about how to deploy that smart home appliance that you learned how to buy and you brought home yesterday. I'm taking this from a blog post I put together for an organization named Best Company, and I wrote the blog post. I'll post a link right here. Here's a link, boom and boom, and the whole idea is you bring home this brand new device. Your smart home is going to need a smarter network to make it all work right. Right away, that word deployment. You're going to deploy this device. That word deployment should stand out. We deploy stuff at work. At home, we unpack consumer devices and we just start using them. Well, not anymore. That internet-connected washing machine you just brought is really a website with a peripheral device. If you deploy it improperly in your laundry room, you're going to invite a whole world right down into your house. And from there, some of the people you invite will probe every nook and cranny of your home. Like it or not, you're taking on the same problems as multi-billion-dollar companies, except most businesses locate their website with professional hosting services. By definition, your smart home device is inside your home. You can't outsource it into the cloud. Welcome to the internet hosting business. It's time to step up your game. That's my best announcer voice. Now you know why I don't do the radio. We need to solve a couple of problems with smart home IoT devices. We need to know, how does the world find our devices, and how do we secure ourselves from these things? And that leads to some deeper questions. Every single device we put on the internet needs a unique identity. If you can control your door locks from your cell phone, it stands to reason that your cell phones need a way to find those door locks from the other side of the planet, right? Well, there's 3 choices to make that happen. First is dynamic DNS, second is static IP addresses, and third is a third-party intermediary. DNS, Domain Naming System, assigns names to IP addresses. There's big books about DNS. You don't need to know all of that stuff. Visualize DNS by looking up your neighbor's phone number in a phone book. That's DNS. But unlike phone numbers, most home networks have dynamic IP addresses. They change all the time, sometimes minute by minute. Well, we work around this problem by signing up with a dynamic DNS service. Dynamic DNS services are supposed to keep those name translations current with changing IP addresses. The good ones cost money every month. The free ones come and go, and your mileage may vary. Solve the dynamic DNS problem by getting yourself a range of static IP addresses from your internet service provider for your home internet connection. Static IP addresses are good because they don't change. They're bad because they cost money and the internet's running out of them. However, IPv6 will cure the IP address shortage. Unfortunately, IPv6 has been 2 years away from wide adoption since 1988. So it ain't going to happen anytime soon. Sometimes these IoT appliances are really a beachhead into your home for companies that want to sell you stuff. Amazon, Google, and the others offer devices that register with those companies. If you buy, say, an Amazon Echo, well, Amazon records every interaction you have with that thing, and the path into your home for the rest of the world goes through Amazon. If you trust a team of marketing analysts in your home 24/7, well, then devices like the Echo offer a great convenience. So that's how the world finds our stuff. How do we secure ourselves from these things? This is where it gets interesting. You need to do 2 things. You need to protect your devices from bad guys, and you need to protect yourself from your devices. Now, there's a technique called NAT, Network Address Translation, and NAT is your friend. I know you've never heard of it, but you already use it in your home network. You'll need to expand it to accommodate your devices. There's all kinds of tutorials about how NAT works. Here's the 1-sentence summary. You give your device a private IP address. It's visible only in your home network, not out to the rest of the world. And you set your firewall to advertise it to the world with a public IP address. It can only, any interaction goes through the firewall, and the firewall decides what comes through and what doesn't. That simple NAT gateway setup, that's going to protect you against nearly all the junk flying around the public internet today, but it's not enough. Even though you close the Illinois tollway of traffic from pounding your device, the world still has a path to it. And only take a few seconds for automated probes from everywhere to find it. Trust me, I've seen it in action. I can show you. Defend yourself. Make sure you change any factory default passwords and lock down all the security settings, and make sure your patches are up to date, both in your devices and your firewall. And that's still not good enough. You need another defense layer in case somebody compromises those devices. This is the part where you protect yourself from your devices. Limit potential damage by segregating your network into zones, just like big companies should do, but many of them don't, and some pay dearly for it. One zone has your computers, TVs, tablets, cell phones, and your computer stuff. Another one that we'll call a DMZ, and the acronym really does stand for demilitarized zone. It's a metaphor. That zone has your IoT devices, and they're partially exposed to the internet behind your NAT gateway. Now here's where it gets tricky. Those IoT devices probably have a home Wi-Fi net, or they probably connect to a home Wi-Fi network. But most homes only offer one Wi-Fi for everything. Well, your home needs to do better. You need at least two semi-independent Wi-Fi networks, one for your DMZ with your IoT devices, the other one for your traditional family stuff. To make this work, you could buy yourself another consumer-grade Wi-Fi router, but there's a more secure way to do it for about the same cost. You use a concept called VLANs, Virtual Local Area Network. Don't get hung up on that. It's a tech word, but don't get hung up on it. With VLANs, traffic all shares the same physical medium, but one network cannot interact with the other except where the VLANs meet at a router someplace. In your case, that router is going to be your internet firewall. You put rules in the firewall to carefully regulate any traffic between the family network and your DMZ with your devices. You'll need VLAN support in all your network components, including your Wi-Fi access point, your firewall, your Ethernet switch, and everything else to pull this off. You'll also need your Wi-Fi access point to support at least two SSIDs. SSID means Service Set Identifier, like Scott Family Wi-Fi. That's an SSID. So you have to support two of those. And that probably means you're going to need to upgrade everything you have in your home network, and that's going to cost money. Well, why bother? Even after you do all that, somebody might still compromise your new IoT device. Let's say somebody compromises a cheap security camera. Well, a bad guy can still use that cheap security camera to attack somebody else on the other side of the planet. That really did happen in 2016 on a massive scale, by the way. Look it up. But at least your private stuff will be safe. Nothing we can do about cheap IoT devices, but you can protect yourself from those things by zoning your network. If your firewall has the ability to monitor traffic in and out, and good firewalls are supposed to do that, well, you have a decent chance of finding and fixing your compromised device. Is all this a hassle? Yep. As we say in Minnesota, yeah, sure, you betcha. Yeah, I know. I exaggerate that a little bit. You're going to face a learning curve, and you're going to spend time and money on home infrastructure upgrades, and your neighbors are probably going to think you're nuts for spending all this time and going to all this trouble. But while your neighbor's internet-connected washing machine is sending their private information to some crook on the other side of the planet, your internet-connected devices will never find your private stuff, and that's what makes it worth the trouble. All right, thanks for hanging out with me. Holy buckets, it's been 8 minutes and 48 seconds. Santiago, good, cool, nice to see you, man. Thanks for hanging out with me. And Lori, thank you too, and I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for putting up with me.